Joining me now is the next title challenger for the UFC flyweight championship. I got the man of the hour here, 4 or 5 days after his big win this past weekend. Josh Van, how's it going, man? How are you feeling a couple days out from your big win, dude?
I feel good. I feel good. Just what I mean, recovering, taking a rest. Yeah, I feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. Has it sunk in yet? I mean, you went from somebody I think a lot of people were excited about, and now you're like the talk of the MMA world. So is life any different than it was a week ago for you?
Uh, yeah, not really. I'll say, but yeah, like social media wise, yes. But life is just what I mean, still normal to me.
Yeah, I saw those numbers, man. How many did you gain? Did you keep track of it?
Mm, I don't know. At fight week, I was at like 90,000 something, but now it went up to like 200 something.
Yeah, that's absolutely unbelievable. So, I guess now that you've kind of had a few days to digest it. I mean, like, what's your reflection on the biggest performance of your career? You got to be pretty happy with that on a couple weeks' notice to go out there and do that, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm very very happy. Shout out to Royval too. Being in the fight like that. But you know what I mean. For the fans, that was a great fight. But for the fighters, I don't want to fight like that ever again. It was I get hit too much, man. I gotta get better again.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be bummed out if you don't fight like that again. That was one of the best fights of the year. I think it'll be in the contention when 6 months from now when we're talking about the best fights of 2025, and at that point you might have a championship as well. So, can you talk to me a little bit about the face-off with Pantoja? Like, that was so quick that they got you back out there after that war. So how did that come about? Like, did they tell you what they were doing? Did they hurry you up? Kind of from the moment that you won that fight, what happened that you ended up back there?
So I won that fight, and then right after that, like on the mic, I said, "Can I do the phase off?" Right, and then after that, I ran to Hunter and Dana, and I said, "Hey man, can I do the phase off?" And then Hunter looked at me. It's like, "Yeah, we might do it." And I was just like, "Okay." And we walked back. I was doing media, and then that's when the girl came. He was like, "Hey man, they want you out there." I said, "All right, bit. Let me change, man." And then I changed into some new clothes, and then we go from there.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering, did you exceed your expectations of what you did on Saturday? Like that, I mean, just think about the face-off, right? Like, that's something the UFC doesn't like to do. They do it very rarely. They've done it with, like, Kayla Harrison having Amanda Nunes get in there, or a Sean O'Malley when he was about to break through. They had him going for morale, but they really reserve it for things that are, probably planned ahead of time and are very, kind of these breakthrough sort of fighters. So for them to do that with you on, like, kind of the whim out of your performance, I mean, did you kind of, I mean, did that even exceed what you thought that you could do that on Saturday?
Shit. To be honest, I thought it was normal. Like I feel like if because Dana White said we was gonna fight for the belt, right? So I
Yeah.
thought if he already said that, I thought it was supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? That's why. That's the reason why I asked too, because I don't want to take his moment, away from him either. You know what I mean? Shout out to Pantoja, man. He's a great guy too. And shout out to the UFC for giving me a chance to do the face off with the champ. To show the people that I'm really the next guy in line.
Yeah, very, very cool there. What I know you talked to the media afterwards at the press conference, and you had a lot of respect towards him. Did you get to talk to him at all besides that little interaction in the cage? I'm just curious if you guys ran into each other at all during the week or after the fight at all.
Yeah, we ran into each other a couple times. We was at the hotel like the VIP room where we check in and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we shake hand, man. He was always respectful. He's like that's why I say he's a great champion. A great human being. So I respect him.
Yeah, two of the nicest guys in the game. I don't think we'll have any Sean Strickland sort of moments during the build up to that one. But that's awesome, man. I mean, it's a great fight. I think the flyweight division, it's one too that I see people talking about. And I think for Pantoja, he needs somebody like you too to kind of build his stock, to get people excited about his fight. So, stylistically, I guess you said at the press conference that he hasn't fought Josh Van, and that's the big difference that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
I guess how confident are you going in against him? I'm sure he's going to maybe try to take you down a little bit. You're boxing so good after that last fight. That would probably be the smart game plan for him. Is that kind of what you're expecting as well?
Yeah. Everybody trying to take me down except for Royval. You know what I mean? So I'm not expecting anything else. You know what I mean? Especially that's his game. You know what I mean? I know he gonna try and take me down. But like I said, man, he ain't never fought Joshua Van. I'm a confidence guy. You know, a lot of people fought him nervous. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna be nervous. I'm not gonna let him play his game. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a whole different fight. So I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. And I think it's almost, I'm talking to people trying to break down the matchup, the style. It's very hard almost to kind of assess you because you keep getting so much better so quickly too. And just this, I mean, I've followed this sport for, I don't know, a decade. I've reported on it for 8 or 9 years. I don't know if I've seen somebody that has competed as quickly as you, like as frequently as you have, but also haven't lost. Like really, you had the one loss to Johnson, but you've continued to move in the right direction, right? So how have you been able to kind of maintain that frequency and not get hurt and not get, even when you suffered a TKO, you were right back in there. So how have you done that mentally and physically? I mean, I think that's really what separated you here from the pack too.
Yeah, man, it's all about my faith. You know what I mean? The fight that I lost, it was between me and my God and my faith. You know what I mean? So knowing that, it just gives me more confidence. You know, going into every fight. Uh, I feel like as long as I'm loyal to my God, and I'll be victorious. You know what I mean? So I can't lose, man. I can't lose in life. He got me into this position already. You know what I mean? I ain't got nothing to lose, man. So I'm just confident, and I'm just keeping my faith forward right there. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
and I know probably a big part of it too is training hard but smart as well. And you've made a point on your rise here to bring up your coach Daniel Panetta, who we all loved watching during his time in the UFC and Bellator and PFL. I know you'd
yeah.
said on Ariel's show that you wanted to be able to compete with him on the same card. Has that idea been presented to the UFC yet? And is there any interest? I know Mick's obviously a Texas guy. I'm sure he's very, he knows Daniel. So is this something you think could actually happen?
Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, we made a deal. We made a deal. You know what I mean? A deal is a deal, man. But like I said, man, he's about to be 40 years old. You know what I mean? But if they willing to give him a matchup, he never say no to a fight. He's just like me. You know what I mean? We the same. So uh, like hopefully we can, what I mean, we can fight on the same card. He can fight on my undercard, and you know what I mean. That would be a deal then.
Yeah, he can go first fight and then you can go last fight so that, he's got enough time to kind of help you out.
Yeah.
When do you want to fight again? I know you said that your toe is kind of a little screwed up going into that fight. And so I'm wondering, do you think we'll sneak this title fight in by the end of the year? Is that kind of what you're hoping still?
Yeah, for sure. I did the X-ray, was it 2 days ago or yesterday? I don't remember, but they say it's not broken. So I
Oh,
think it was just like the bone dislocate or some shit. I don't know, because I felt it move and shit like that in during the fight. So that's when I thought it was broken. You know what I mean? So, but it hurt. But I think if it's not broken, then it just heal by itself, right? So hopefully by the end of this year we'll be able to fight, because the champ said he want to fight around December, right? So why not December? Let's
yeah,
do it.
maybe that year-end card in Vegas that the UFC likes doing, that would be perfect. Did you happen to catch, by the way, not that it matters because I think the UFC's already, kind of said you're obviously the next guy, but did you catch Manel Cap's tweet during your fight?
I'm I'm not on social media like that. I don't, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I don't. What do you say?
He said that he would kill you both if he fought you.
Yeah, then why he pulled out?
True,
You know
true,
what
true. Fair
I mean?
point.
You should be thanking me for saving him from the ass whooping that he was about to get.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's right there too. So that fight could happen. Maybe after your next one, that will be something that the UFC looks at. The flyweight division is pretty fun right now, man. I think it's the most one of the most talent rich divisions. So does that kind of excite you too, as a new guy, knowing that that there's so many matchups that are going to catch people's attention going forward?
Yeah, man, I feel like the top 10 and up is very, very exciting right now in the division. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how the 35er was popping. You know what I mean? Now the 25er is like lip. You know what I mean? Going into that direction. So as long as we keep this exciting fight, I think the division is going to do good.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up your Instagram post too, the one that you had most recently. It was like a slideshow, and it had you with you had done the UFC podcast, and you had the title, right? Was there any superstition not to touch it? I know that's like a thing sometimes that the fighters don't want to touch the gold before they're champ.
Fuck that! I wouldn't touch that gold. I like I touched it before after the Noche fight too when we went to watch Daniel Pineda last fight. You know what I mean? At the PI, I was like, man, is that the belt? I was like, yeah, let me. I took a picture with it. You know what I mean? I think I posted, but I deleted or something. But yeah, like if I see the UFC belt, well, like no, I want to touch it. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Did it feel right?
feel great, feel right.
Yeah.
Feel like that should belong with me.
Yeah. And I liked in that slideshow too, right? That you used that you had that picture from when you were a kid, right? Was that in Myanmar that photo was taken?
Yes, that's in the village where I was born.
Yeah, and I know that's been a big part of your story. We've talked about it a bit, and you wanted that flag to be able to hold it. Then you got your flag, and now you can represent it on the biggest stage. So I know you had it even with the when they were showing you right with the cage side with Pantoja's fight. So what does it mean to you to take it to new heights in combat sports? Like every time we see you, it's getting more out there. People are talking about it more. It's in articles more. So I know that's something that means a lot to you, right?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the fans for tuning in. You know what I mean? Things like that. Cause like if it wasn't for the fans, man, you know what I mean, we won't be here. So it's like I love all the support and the love. You know what I mean? So it's like um I'm in the gym for you guys, man. I fight for you guys. So you know what I mean. I will always put on the show for you guys and things like that. So it feels great just to see all the fans from everywhere. You know what I mean, not just in Myanmar's and things like that. That support me. You know what I mean. So like the people of Myanmar, every time I go to fight, the whole nation pray for me and things like that. So you know what I mean. How can you lose when the whole nation pray for you?
Yeah. What would you like? I know it's been go, go, go probably since you've won. You're doing all sorts of media, you're traveling around. Have you been able to take a step back and kind of think about that kid that's in that picture? Like what would he have ever imagined that this would go down?
Damn, you see, 5 years ago, my life was completely different from this life that I'm living right now. You know what I mean? It was fighting that changed my life. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for fighting, man, I could have been somewhere like, you know what I mean? I don't even want to talk about it, but like, fighting really make me a calm person. You know what I mean? And things like that. So I see things in like a different perspective, right? That's how you say it, perspective and things
Yep.
like that. So it changed me to be a better person. You know what I mean? So man, it was just yeah, it was just like a great feeling, man.
Yeah, and I'm assuming I know you bought your mom a house right after your last fight that you won. How thrilled was she to see her son go out there and earn a title shot? I'm sure that it's been quite the month for her as well, right?
Yeah, man. She's shopping right now for her new house. You know what I mean? She forget yeah, all these furnitures and all this shit. So she loving the house, man. She loving the house. So I'm just blessed and grateful to be able to do that for her. You know.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to bring up too, because I saw like there was some social media posts that people were bringing this up a lot, and I'm curious how much it was in your head during this process. Was the Noche UFC press conference? People were bringing up that you were the only fighter up there not to get asked the question, and now here you are coming out of one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, less than a year later, and you're the guy. So is that something that you motivated you at all, or was it just a moment that you just kind of forgot about and people have made a bigger deal of?
Yeah, I already forgot about that shit. Like I was, to be honest, the Noche, I was so scared that they was going to ask me a question. To be honest, like I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, damn. And then like when they asked my opponent some question, I was like, oh shit, let me think quick, let me think quick. I think they're gonna ask me, and then they didn't ask me, so I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? But I feel like that was a great experience for me because to go out into the press conference and you know what I mean, they didn't ask me no question, but like it's like it prepared me for you know what I mean, this fight, my last fight, when we did the press conference and things like that. So you know what I mean. I feel like everything happened for a reason. So it prepared me for it. Even my debut, you know what I mean. My UFC debut, that I was supposed to fight on the Contender Series, you know, and uh, like the Contender Series, you gotta have like the media days or things like that. You know what I mean? So we fly out to Vegas to do all my medias and taking pictures and you know looking around the Apex and things like that, right? So as soon as we went back to Houston, that's when I get the show notice call, like the 3 days notice. You know what I mean? But then at that time, it was like experience already. Like I see what type of cameras they have and things like that. So when I go into my first fight, you know what I mean? That was kind of like preparing me. So kind of the same thing, you know, that they didn't ask me no question in that press conference, but now like I'm, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like everything happened for a reason, man.
Yeah, you seem to be very like able to. I think for a lot of people, when they hit adversity, right, they learn something from it, but it still kind of maybe does its damage a little bit. But for you, you seem to be able to really draw from that sort of stuff, whether it was your upbringing, whether it was the Johnson loss, whether it was things like this. So, is that just like a faith thing, or is that something you just were born with, or kind of how have you been able to do that? Because I think the mental side of what you do is pretty impressive and maybe overlooked from the physical side too.
Yeah, man. It was just the fate thing, you know what I mean? The fate
Yeah.
thing that I'm closer to God more than ever. You know what I mean? So it's like that loss was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because if not, I would have been out of the world. You know, I get big head and things like that. So you know what I mean. I got humble real quick. So you know what I mean. Now that I never want to go back to that type of moment. You know what I mean. So I'm just stay in my lane. You know what I mean. Doing what coaches telling me to do and things like that. So that none of that type of shit will ever happen to me again.
Yeah. Just kind of like put a bow on it with this. Your ideal scenario, I know you said the end of the year, but you go in there. What happens between you and Pantoja? Kind of, I know you probably are going to study him and do some, maybe some specific training for him, but what is like your early read on what happens when you guys get in there?
I'll finish him. I'll
All right.
finish him. I can't tell you what round, but I'll finish him for sure. Yeah,
Are you excited for the 5 rounds?
yeah, but it's not gonna go 5 rounds.
Okay. So we either got a 1, a 2, or a 3 here. We'll keep it a mystery for now. But Josh, man, super happy for you. Thanks for doing this. I know it's been busy times for you, but couldn't be happier. It's been cool to see your rise and you taking all these wins. So congrats, man. Super happy for you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, brother.